Life is like a deck of cards, just like Forrest Gump said. Well, he didn't say that. He said life's like a box of chocolates, but whatever, move on. It's all the same, isn't it? A deck of cards, 52 of them. That's one for each and every week of the year. There's low cards for the not-so-great weeks and aces and royals for the weeks where you're really, truly happy. But sometimes the deck's a bit messed up, a bit rough around the edges. Does that mean there's no point in playing the game or risking the odds? Depends how you look at it, doesn't it? Some people make their lives a royal flush all the way, no matter what kind of hand they're dealt. These are my cousins, Michael and Lois. They're legends. And these are their dogs, Jackson, Honey May, and Willy Wonky. Yes, these little fellas are a bit messed up, but hey, nobody's perfect.
That was nearly 19 years ago.
Christmas Eve in 1996 at a friend's Christmas Eve drinks.
Next day, Lois was disappearing. She went to England, so didn't see her for about 6 weeks, and she came back and I asked her if she'd like to go out. That was it.
We've been together ever since.
Nearly Christmas time, we got a phone call from this guy and he said, "You might not know me, I've met you and your dogs on the beach." And he said, "My dog's just had a litter, but one of them can't walk. And the vet says that she's no good, you've got to put her down." He said, "I just haven't got the heart to do it." So he asked us if we'd like to come over and have a look. Well, that was the end of it. One look at her and we took her, but when we first saw her, she couldn't even stand. And to see her now, she's amazing.
I found Jackson when I was waiting for my daughter to meet me for breakfast in a Westfield shopping centre, and she was an hour late, so I went looking in the shop windows. And I found Jackson. He's the only lonely little black ball of fluff in the pet shop window. And I went and looked at him, and he came over to the window and looked at me, and I just knew I had to take him home. So I rang Michael and said, I've found this beautiful puppy and he's looking at me and he wants me to take him home.
And I just said, well, turn around, you know. Anyway, later on I went, so what happened? Said, oh, he's under my feet. So that was it, she got him.
Jackson has a spinal condition which is caused by the discs coming out.
So from the chest down, he was useless, couldn't do anything.
And that's happened to him twice, once when he was 3 and the second time when he was 6.
We took him, had to get him a back operation. It was only a 50-50 chance if it worked. You'd have to lift his tail to help him up, but once he got up, he could run, and I'd run with him and he'd run along on the beach.
Then he was able to walk on his legs for another 7 or 8 years. And then only this year, since Christmas, he hasn't been able to get up on his back legs because they can't bear the weight now. About
12, he had cataracts and hemorrhage about a year later. So we had to get his, so they had to pop his eye out. Said, day surgery, and he was in the surf that same day. This woman pulled up with a car with 6 dogs jumped out the back. None of them are on leads on Oxford Street. I thought, wow. Anyhow, Willie took a couple of steps, fell over, took a couple more steps, fell over, and I picked him up. He just sat on my lap, looked in my eyes, and that's it. We've had Jack as a paraplegic twice. We got him walking again twice after back operations, and so she said, oh, he's the perfect person for this one. He'd been thrown against a brick wall and given brain damage, so it's like someone who's had a stroke or anything, so that's why he falls over all the time and shakes. The more excited he gets, the worse he shakes. Yeah, so.
Well, we're known around here as the decrepit dog walking club. And that applies to the dogs and not us, yet.
Well, the water, I love the surf. I do enjoy the surf. I've got a boogie board, the old fart. But, you know, you try and go without them.
Well, we have to put them in the car and we have to drive them to a level beach. We can't go anywhere where there's huge sand hills or where the water falls, you know, goes away sharply. It has to be somewhere fairly level. And then we put them load them up into the SUV and take them down. And then we have the we originally had was called an animal transporter, which was a very small pram. And we'd put them in and take them to the edge of the beach and then carry them down. But we've now got the yummy mummy stroller version. So we just push them along in the pram and take them out, and then they do whatever they want to do and put them back in the pram and take them back up the beach.
You just see him, like sometimes he takes off and really starts running, and then he just goes and he rolls and it keeps on going.
We've had a lot of people over the years ask why we haven't put Jack down when he's had periods when he can't walk or he's been scooting around on his bottom. But he thinks he's a four-legged, two-eyed Rottweiler guard dog. He doesn't think he's a two-legged, sometimes four-legged, one-eyed poodle Jack Russell. He has no understanding of that. He's very tough. Well, we don't believe that just because an animal isn't perfect, it should be put down. We believe that every animal, every living creature's got a right to be alive.